In the time before maps and crowns, when the winds of the savannah still carried the songs of the gods and the rivers remembered the names of stars in the sacred kingdom of Ego de Migodo, a land hidden beneath the gaze of Olodumare himself, there was born a queen whose tale would become a curse passed down through centuries like a fire too hot to touch but too important to forget. Her name was Queen Azenna, daughter of Azudu the Great and Dahlia the Spirit Talker. A child conceived beneath the blood moon, with salt water in her lungs and thunder in her heart. A child conceived beneath the blood moon, with salt water in her lungs and thunder in her heart. A girl whose birth was marked by a swarm of black butterflies and a palm tree that bloomed flames instead of fruit. The oracle of the land had warned that she would bring both glory and ruin, but no one listened, for when she came of age. Her beauty was so terrifying it silenced drums, her skin darker than midnight rain, her eyes gold like trapped lightning, her walk like the sway of the river Niger in full flood. And when her father died in the Battle of Seven Suns, she was crowned queen before the gods could even blink, and her reign began with thunderous applause and the slaughter of all her father's old enemies. But behind the smiles and victories was a queen haunted by an unquenchable thirst. Not for war, not for gold, not for legacy, but for a kind of touch that could silence the echo inside her bones. And so began the era known as the Thousand Nights, when warriors from Zatsu, princes from Ife, answers from Calabar, poets from Sokoto, fishermen from Bani, and even hunters from Cameroon crossed deserts and climbed cliffs to lie with her, each bringing gifts, stories, and hopes. But each leaving broken, for Queen Azenna would take their bodies with unmatched fire, their strength, their sweat, their skill, but her heart remained untouched. Untouched like the sacred masks of her ancestors. No man could make her soul sing, and soon the palace became a temple of shadows where moans echoed like prayers, and yet none reached the heavens. And her people began to murmur, elders shook their heads, and the priests warned her that her longing was becoming poison, that she was bending the sacred threads of womanhood and queenhood until even the gods were turning their backs. But Azenna only laughed. A laugh like shattered calabash, and said, "What I seek is older than tradition, deeper than manhood." And so she began to chase pleasure in forbidden corners. The underground markets of Aloyo, where charm makers sold powdered desire and potions made from crocodile blood, the sacred groves of Isan, where spirits whispered promises through the mouths of owls. And finally, the forest of Omo, ancient, sacred, sealed, where it is said that creatures walk with bones of stone and tongues of wind. Creatures not meant for the eyes of women or the hunger of humans. It was there, alone and trembling with desperation, that she gave herself to beasts. The iron lion with golden fangs, the shadow elephant whose breath could crush trees. The iron lion with golden fangs, the shadow elephant whose breath could crush trees. The serpent with eyes like burning cowries, and 100 others, each more monstrous than the last, not for lust, but for the possibility that something might finally reach the empty place inside her soul. That something might finally make her feel, but the earth screamed, the skies split, and the ancestors rose in horror. For she had crossed the boundary between desire and defilement, had torn the veil between mortal longing and spiritual sin, and so the gods came. Olodumare in silence, Sango with fire in his mouth, Yamoya weeping rivers, Yamoya weeping chains made of broken swords, and they judged her without words. For there were no words left for what she had done. Her punishment was eternal. Her body was twisted into something neither woman nor beast. Her voice stolen so she could never again cry or sing. Her spirit chained to the trees of the forest she defiled, and the winds were commanded to carry her name only as a warning, not as a story of lust, but of the darkness that comes when the soul forgets its roots. Her kingdom crumbled, her lovers went mad, her name was banned from tongues for 300 years, and even today, when the moon turns red and the trees hush their rustling, old women toss salt over their shoulders and whisper, "She walks tonight." They say she appears to those who crave too much, standing naked in the mist, her eyes burning, her body still beautiful, but cursed, forever cursed, and that those who look upon her either die from madness or never desire again. because one glance into her empty heart is enough to make any man's hunger turn to dust. And so if you, dear listener, ever find yourself reaching too far into shadows, chasing something your ancestors would not name, remember Queen Azenna, the woman who ruled 1,000 hearts, but never found her own, who gave her body to gods and monsters and was left with nothing but silence, who became a lesson carved in time for every generation that followed. That power without wisdom is destruction, and desire without spirit is doom. If her story stirred something in your chest, if her name made your spine chill or your thoughts wander, then I invite you to hit that like button. Subscribe to Tales by Abdul, and ring that bell like the village drums of warning. For more ancient truths, dark fables, and haunting legends from the soul of Africa, where every story carries blood, fire, and memory.